Hi guys, I'm Shmee and welcome to Le Mans. Today's video is part of this adventure to join the Ford Chip Ganassi racing team here at the race. Is going to be about the Focus RS. This is the car I've driven here from London via a stop off in Paris. I've had a little bit of time behind the wheel and you've probably already seen the title, Should I Buy One? And that is because I'm rather taken by this little thing, but I'll get onto that in a little bit more detail first. So this is a pretty special year for Ford. This is the 50th anniversary of the monumental 1-2-3 podium finish of the Ford GT40 in 1966. So it's a big deal for Ford and the Ford Performance team and Chip Ganassi Racing, of course. So we're going to be taking part in all of the action over the weekend. But today, and firstly, I wanted to show you the car in a little bit more detail. I touched on it a little bit yesterday, but now let's take a sort of full look around the new Focus RS. Let's start with some facts and figures. We've got a 2.3 litre 4-cylinder EcoBoost engine, twin scroll turbocharged, good for 350 PS, 440 Newton meters of torque. So the car has a top speed of 165 miles an hour, and it will get to 62 miles an hour, 100 kilometers an hour in just 4.7 seconds. So it is very much a hot hatch in terms of what it is capable of, as well, of course, as the looks. So one big sort of thing of note is the fact that this is all-wheel drive. It's a four-wheel drive car, and there is a very, very clever system behind that. It enables you to channel 70% of the available power just to the rear wheels, and of that, you can actually send 100% of the torque to just one side, depending on the cornering. So it virtually eliminates understeer, which is a pretty clever system. So there's a lot of tech in this. And obviously alongside that, you've had to have all of the sort of components that have to go into the rear to make it all-wheel drive, and the additional torsional rigidity components that have gone in towards the whole structure. So what we're looking at, a 350 horsepower super hot hatch, and it's one that is very exciting. Like I said, I've already done quite a few miles behind the wheel, and I'm going to do some more. But talking about the looks, it's obviously based on the Focus, but significantly more menacing. I mean, starting off with the wing, the spoiler here up towards the top of the rear window, and that's countered by a more aggressive diffuser down below, where you will find these two fairly monstrous tailpipes down at the back, either side of the central reversing light, which is a nice touch as well. Decked out with the RS badge, you'd expect nothing less. This car's German registered because it is a Ford press vehicle that I've been driving. The car is finished in the stealth grey paint. It's got the 19-inch optional wheel design that's finished in black with the painted Brembo calipers. I think they're a good touch. The nitrous blue was the sort of launch colour of the car. That's the colour of the calipers. And there's all sorts of different colour configurations, of course, available that change the interior and the like. Around the front, though, you've got this gaping, large, very aggressive and wide front grille, which obviously is all to do with pulling the air in. It's pretty much open from the bottom up towards the top, bar where the number plate is, and again, wearing the RS badge here just to the side. But it's an aggressive stance. There's no question about that, and it looks pretty menacing. So we'll take a quick look at the interior. I'll go over more of the tech stuff, like obviously the key-free system, but inside starts obviously as the Focus, but with some extra touches. So this car has the optional shell seat, which is the Recaro sort of bucket seat that's available. There's a lot of tech in here through the Sync 2 8-inch touchscreen. I'll show you all of that when we get back from the little drive. And then, of course, one of the main things in this car, we've got the 6-speed manual gearbox. Let's close that. This is a pretty fun little one. So keyless system with the key, just pop that anywhere. Start button just here, and she comes into life. And yes, it is a good sounding fruity little thing. So I'm going to take it for a little drive and give you some feedback. Let's get on the way. This is now the third generation of the Focus this Armrest. So things have moved on fairly substantially. And one thing to talk about are the different driving modes. So we've got 4 different driving modes in here. You start with normal and sport for the road, and then you've got racetrack and drift, of course, for out on the circuit. Now, racetrack we can probably try. Drift, I'm not so sure I'm going to be doing on the public road today, but maybe at some point in the future. But kicking off in normal, fully comfortable, quiet, light clutch, easy drive, everything you would expect. A couple of people I've seen commenting on the seating position that saying it's too high. For me, that's a non-issue. I'm under 6 foot tall. I don't feel like I'm sat too high at all. I mean, I feel like I'm sat in a hatchback, and I am sat in the shell seat, though, the bucket. I should probably mention that. I'm not sure if that makes a difference in the seating position height. But for me, cruising along, absolutely fine, very comfortable. The car's telling me I should be in a gear higher. Still have to be efficient, of course. And in fact, I think you get about 35 mpg out of here combined, so quite an impressive number. But what I want to do is to put it almost straight into sport. So, oops, I've gone into race. Let's go back to sport. 2 presses of the drive mode selector down there to get yourself into sport mode. Now this is obviously going to make, well, the main thing it's going to make is the exhaust louder. That's certainly the thing I like the most. And when you heard the revs earlier, it was in sport mode, so that we got a little bit of that, the cracks. Now let me accelerate. Lift off, crackle, 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 crackle. Slightly artificial, of course, but that's what makes it fun. It's a bit like the F-Type or the Lamborghini Huracan, Audi R8, all these cars leaning towards making the cars more exciting through whatever means that may be, and refining the sound is one of them. So let's downshift a second. It loves to rev. It just picks up and keeps going. That's one of the things I found driving it. It really wants you to sort of get up and go and give it some and have some fun with it and not be afraid of using some of the available power. And 350 horsepower is quite a lot. As we're in the twisties though, also, one of the other things to note is the steering. The steering feel is really, really good. That comes from all the torque vectoring work going on behind, and I don't necessarily understand all of the engineering. What I know that translates to is a car that is very fun to drive and doesn't feel very understeery, and makes for this sort of really all-round kind of enjoyable package. So that is why basically I started off with my original question, should I buy one? Because initially I'm loving driving this thing. I feel like, you know, it's all-wheel drive, so all weather conditions, no problem. It's a 5-seater with a big boot without being too big to drive. So whether you're on a French countryside road, an English countryside road, it's going to fit in and not be awkward or difficult. It's got 350 horsepower, 0 to 62 is under 5 seconds. All sort of signs of an exciting car. It's wearing the Ford RS badge. It's got heritage, it's got a story. All these things add up together to make something that is a very, very nice overall package. You've got all sorts of technology, I'll show you later, the reversing camera, I mean, everything these days that you sort of would want or expect to have in the car. This car has active city stop, so the engine, of course, shuts off when you come to a stop to help with efficiency. You've got storage pockets galore. I can show all of those as well. But all in all, it's really, really nice. Let's pull away again. There's, you know, cruising around. Maybe the automatic gearbox might be better for cruising, but let's face it, we're not here to do that. We're here to drive this car and enjoy it. I suppose it's in that sort of niche of cars that is an all-use, sort of all-purpose vehicle, while simultaneously having the ability to have a little bit of fun with it. Grab it by the reins, throw it around a bit, push on, and see what it's capable of. So let me see if out of here I'm going to turn into an interesting road somewhere, because I want to be enjoying this car right now. It's a lot of fun when you do that. It's an awful lot of fun when you do that, and it's amazing how quickly a manual hatchback can accelerate like that. Good times all around, no question. Let me try some other things. So let's pop it into racetrack mode, which will firm everything up and make it, yeah, I can feel it's a little bit more solid. You can probably hear from the sounds already. It feels more pointy. You definitely would not want to use this on a countryside road. I'm actually going to take it out of that. I'd love to put it on the track and try that, but sport mode is clearly set up for fun. It comes across that way from the word go. And then we can independently try the suspension change, which you do by pressing and holding the button on the end of the stick. So we've got sport mode, sorry, we've got normal mode with sport suspension. Now the suspension has got very firm. I'd say it's probably pretty equivalent to the race mode setup there. This is definitely a little bit overkill for this kind of environment, but that's why I'm learning, I'm testing. Maybe on some nice German twisty, flowy road, that would be fantastic. So we're in sport mode, which has put the suspension back into its normal mode. Sometimes when you downshift, you get some exhaust blips. So there we go. That's what I love. And then just go again. Like I said, it wants to pull out the revs. It wants you to go and pick up and have some excitement with it. And it's funny. I don't know. I don't obviously frequently drive, or that frequently drive cars like this, but it's been such an enjoyable drive on the motorway. Perhaps I expected it to feel a little bit more claustrophobic, a little bit smaller. The car size has obviously grown over the generations, but it didn't at all. It felt very, very homely. And then when I'm driving around on roads like this, it's an entertaining drive as well. So price-wise, the list price is about £30,000. By the time you've added some options like this car has, you're running 33, 34, maybe 35. There's not that much to add. In fact, I'll show you the options list in a moment. But all around, so far, I mean, it's ideal. It's spot on. It's a lovely piece of kit. And yeah, I'm just going to keep driving. Now that I've succeeded in making the car a little bit dirtier on the outside, let's have a look around the interior. I want to show you everything, the displays, the controls, and what's available to us. Let's start here on the dashboard. Obviously, you've got your rev counter. It goes up to 6.5, speedometer, we're in kilometers, fuel and oil temperatures in the middle. Then you've got the display right above, which is kind of fun because it's controlled through this. And you've got quite a lot that's available to you. So if I go back to the top level, you've got trip computer 1, trip computer 2, some information and settings. So if you go into the settings, this is where in driver assist you can turn on the launch control and all the other features like city stop, the stop starting ability, hill start assistance, tyre monitoring. So there's quite a lot going on in here. Quite a lot of things to look at, play, settings, all that kind of stuff. And generally I do quite like that. One thing that slightly frustrates me with trip computer is there's so much information. To go through all of the different screens just takes forever. There's so much there until you get back to that, and you can't have your range to empty and your speed up at the same and digital speedometer up at the same time. Small little niggles there. Around here we've got the cruise control and the speed limiter. There's the suspension button I was pressing earlier. You press and hold in on the end of the indicator stalk. Phone controls here. That's all of that stuff, all the usual sort of things, lights, mirrors, windows, going on around there. Air vents and stuff are all quite cool, nice design around the Sync 2 entertainment system, digital radio, you'd have your phone up here, your iPod control there, you've got the compass top right and the air conditioning stuff in the bottom right. There you've got some quite cool little dials, just pressures and the like, what's going on in the engine. So like I said, there are cubby holes and storage pockets everywhere. So you've got a pocket here with a USB socket. You've got a cigarette socket there, just above your traction, start, stop, your drive modes, and I think your heated steering wheel. Here in the armrest, if I take the key out quickly, I'll just put that up there. You've got this rather funky system where you can sort of adjust and move things and have different size containers. You could have a tall like McDonald's container thing there that you can secure in and shuffle everything around and do whatever you want, or just cover that. Things everywhere, all sorts of things you can do. Then in here you've got the armrest, which has this tray, and then under that you've got, well, your iPod and your cables and whatever you want, and some more plugs and an SD card and an aux socket and this sort of coin tray up at the top. So no shortage of those, and even in the back there are some more pockets just down by the side of the seats. Recaro seats in the back as well there, which is kind of cool. So there's a lot to press and play with and see and explore in here, which is quite nice, I suppose. I mean, you've got the steering wheel's a good feel. The dash is sort of faux leather plastic, but isn't done too badly. And then if I show you this too, which is what I was mentioning, we've got the options list. So you've got the luxury pack, which is quite cool, with the power folding mirrors, the privacy glass, the park distance sensors, the cruise control, and the key-free system. That's the keyless remote. Optional extras, short list, the Recaro seats, Sync 2, which comes with the 10-speaker Sony system, rear view camera, the optional wheels, painted calipers, active city stop, door edge protectors, and a sunroof. So this car doesn't have the sunroof, but there's an awful lot that's standard, and I do like that nitrous blue colour, which is sort of Ford Performance's lead colour. You've got some wheels and options there, and they're the seats. If you get the nitrous blue car, you have the blue seats, and yes, all of the other stuff. Convenient little book. So in here is good. I will shut this off and jump back out. Let's revert back then to the original question. Should I buy one? Now here's my thinking. I do an awful lot of miles. In my current cars, I'm currently running 30 to 40,000 miles a year in my own cars, not including all the trips I do in others. So I'm putting a lot of miles on my cars, which I really, really enjoy, obviously. But sometimes I'm just doing personal trips, you know, visiting friends, family. What's the point necessarily in taking something that I'm uncomfortable parking on the street? So I'm sort of thinking an extra car that I can use and still have fun with, where perhaps I want to leave the more valuable cars at home for whatever reason. Now, you don't necessarily know everything because I've got other cars coming. So I've got the 675 LT Spider coming, I've got a mystery car coming that I haven't at this point revealed, and I've also got 2 other supercars on order that I'm going to show you in the very near future. So this is all very, very confusing what's going on in my garage. I'm getting in a muddle as well. But I don't own, let's just say, anything that I would class like this. A car that I would do 100 miles in, 200 miles in, longer journeys, park it anywhere and still have fun with it kind of thing. So that's a bit of a niche. And really, I'm kind of interested in your guys' thoughts of the Focus RS and whether you think it would be a good additional car. I've always sort of thought it's pretty cool. I haven't owned a proper hot hatch in my life, so it's sort of something, a box maybe I should tick off at some point. And I think this might be a pretty nice way to go about it. So we shall see. Just let me know in the comments what you think, and maybe, who knows? Who knows? But at the moment, just to clarify, at the moment, I have not ordered one. This is the first time I've driven it, and I have really quite enjoyed it, as you have seen. Even if the cracks are artificial, they still sound awesome, but that's what it's all about. I'm trying to think of some quirks and sort of funny things. I mean, like I said, a few people talked about the seating position, but I would want to drive the car with the normal seats first. Loads and loads of menus go on for days. Perhaps the trim could be slightly nicer, but we're talking a £30,000 car here. We're not talking ultimate in luxury. And with that, you're getting something with a lot of performance. You know, it's a significant chunk cheaper than the RS3, the A45. Those you're sort of looking at another 10,000, maybe even with some options more than 10,000 on top. So yeah, I've had fun. I'm looking forward now to heading over to Circuit de la Sarthe to join the Ford team for what should hopefully be a pretty awesome weekend. Just make sure you guys let me know whether you think I should buy one. That's it for now though. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed the Focus RS, and I will catch up with you again very soon. Cheers. Audi have released the upgraded version of the RS6, the RS6 Performance, which is what this. Of course, we've got the Brabus 500, G500 4x4, where they